Chapter 3, Lesson 5, Rounding. In this lesson we're going to be rounding numbers. The numbers could be in the ones, tens, hundreds, or thousands place, or further, 10,000s, 100,000s, or it could be in the decimal places, tenths, hundreds, or thousands. So let's look at this one as an example. Rocky Mountain National Park has an area of 266,862 acres. How can you use rounding rules to round 266,862 to the nearest thousand? So we have 266,862. We're looking for the nearest thousand, which is the 6. So whenever we're rounding a number, we look to the number to the right, and that tells us what to do. If a number is between 0 and 4, the number we are rounding stays the same. If it's between 5 and 9, the number we are rounding is going to go up. So we're rounding the 6 to the nearest thousand. The 8, the number to the right, tells us what to do. And because it's between 5 and 9, we're going to raise the 6 up to a 7. So the new number is going to be 267,000. After we do that, the other numbers are going to become zeros. Because we're just, whatever number we're rounding, we're going to change or leave the same, and everything to the right of that, we're just going to change to zeros. Okay, the same thing goes for decimals. We want to round 607 thousandths to the nearest hundredth. So your hundredth place, we have the tenths, which is the 6, hundredths is the 0, and 7 is the thousandths. So we're rounding to 0. So again, we're going to look at the number to the right, and that tells us what to do to the 0. Since 7 is between 5 and 9, we're going to raise the 0 up to a 1. So your new answer is going to be 0.61. Now, unlike whole numbers, we don't need a 0. If you put a 0 there, we don't need it. Only when we're dealing with the whole numbers, like the thousands, the like one we just did up here. If you put the 0, it won't be wrong, but on a test, they won't have the 0 at the end. Anytime there's a 0 at the end, we just want to get rid of it. So this number, 3.218, which is 3 and 218 thousandths, because the 8 is in the thousands place. We want to round this number to the nearest hundredth. So we're going to round it to the nearest hundredth. So we're rounding the 1. The 8 tells me what to do. Because it's between 5 and 9, I'm going to raise up the 1 to a 2. So my new answer is going to be 3 and 22 hundredths. Again, I don't need to put a 0 there. We don't like zeros with decimals. They're like invisible. We only put zeros when we're dealing with the bigger numbers. So 3.22. This one says $527.82. It says round to the nearest 10 cents. So we're looking at the change, the 82 cents. Is 82 closer to 80 or 90? Well, the 2 makes us leave the 8 the same. So if we round this to the nearest 10 cents, your answer is going to be $527.80. Because this is the 10 cents. We're just looking at the change. And this one actually possibly could be a test question. This one says change or round off to the nearest tenth. So I will give you a chance to work on it, pause it, so you can try to figure it out before I show you the answer. Okay, tenths place. We're looking at this side. You've got your tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So here's my tenths place. The 7 tells me what to do to the 0. 7 is between 5 and 9, so I'm going to move this up to become a 1. So my answer will be 426 and 1/10. This one says round off to the nearest tenth. Go ahead and try it before I show you what to do. Push pause. Okay, nearest tenth. This is your tenths place. The 6 tells me to raise it up because 6 is between 5 and 9. Now, what you don't want to do is change that to a 1 and say that it's 10, because you're changing a 9 to a 1, and that's smaller. You want to go up. Think of this as money. Think of this as 96 cents. If you're going to raise it up, you're going to raise it up to $1. So your answer, once you change this, is going to be 1.0 or just 1. You'll see some of these on your test and your homework, and people get confused because they always want to make it 0.10 because 9 goes up to 10. Actually, this is saying 9 went up to a 1, and that's wrong. So make sure if the decimal is right next to that 9 and you're raising it up, just round it off to 1. Think of money. 96 cents goes up to $1. So here's your homework. It says round to the place indicated by the underlined digit. So let's try number 3. I'll let you try. 3 is 1. I just showed you what to do. Try number 4. 10.91. The 9 is underlined. The 1 tells me to keep it the same because it's between 0 and 4. So my answer is going to be 10.9. Okay, number 7. 462,969. The 2 is underlined, so that's what we're going to change. The 9 tells me to raise that 2 up to a 3. So my new answer is going to be 463,000, and that's it. Remember, all the numbers to the right, they just become zeros. And this is because there are no decimal points here. If there was a decimal, we would not add zeros, but because there's not, you have to add them. Number 6, 0.288. The 8 is underlined, so we look to the right of that. The 8 tells us to make that 8 go up to a 9. So my new answer is going to be 0.29. Again, you don't have to put the 0 here because this is decimals. So that's it for Chapter 5. Remember to go back and look at the rest of the lessons because your test will be coming up here very soon.